The studio lights dimmed, casting a dramatic glow over the room. The air was thick with anticipation as the opening theme played, a crescendo of music designed to raise the stakes. Cameras panned across the audience, hundreds of people seated in hushed silence, their faces alight with curiosity. The stage, a sleek blend of glass and polished wood, reflected the host's confident stride as he stepped forward. Known for his provocative style and knack for stirring the pot, he was in his element tonight. Adjusting his microphone, he flashed his signature smirk and addressed the audience. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice dripping with intrigue. "Tonight, we delve into a question that has captured imaginations, sparked debates, and even fueled conspiracy theories. A question so bold, so controversial, that it's been whispered in halls of power and shouted across internet forums." He paused, letting the suspense build. "The question is, did you ever DNA test Barron Trump?" Gasps echoed through the room. The words displayed in towering white letters on the massive screen behind him seemed almost surreal. People leaned forward in their seats, as if drawn by an invisible force. The camera shifted to the front row, where Melania Trump sat poised and serene. Dressed in an impeccably tailored white suit, she exuded an air of quiet strength. Beside her sat Donald Trump, his arms crossed, his expression a mix of defiance and amusement. The host turned to face them, his tone both respectful and probing. "Mrs. Trump, Mr. Trump, thank you for joining us tonight. I realize this is not an easy question to confront, but it's one that has been asked countless times. What do you say to those who speculate about Barron's origins?" Melania's gaze was steady, her voice calm but firm. "Barron is my son," she said simply. "He is unique, talented, and extraordinary, just like any mother would say about her child. And that is all anyone needs to know." The host raised an eyebrow, clearly unsatisfied with the brevity of her response. "But surely, Mrs. Trump, you understand why people are curious. His height, his demeanor, his intelligence. He stands out even among your family. People wonder if there's a scientific explanation, something unusual." A flicker of annoyance crossed Melania's face, but she remained composed. "Curiosity is natural," she admitted, "but speculation without facts is harmful. Barron is who he is because of love, support, and his own hard work, not because of baseless theories." The host pressed on, undeterred. "I appreciate your perspective, but tonight, we want to give the audience a chance to ask their questions directly." He gestured toward the audience, where a young woman in the second row had raised her hand. She stood nervously as a microphone was passed to her. "Hi, Mrs. Trump," she began hesitantly. "My name is Sarah. I'm a teacher, and I work with gifted children. I've always admired Barron's composure and intellect. But do you ever worry about the pressure he faces? About the expectations placed on him?" Melania's expression softened. "Thank you for your question, Sarah," she said warmly. "As a mother, I worry about many things. Barron has faced challenges that most children cannot imagine, but he is strong, and he knows he is loved. That is what sustains him." The conversation seemed to be taking a more personal, heartfelt turn, when suddenly a commotion erupted near the back of the studio. A woman in her late 30s stood, clutching a manila folder. Her face was pale, her hands trembling. The host seized the opportunity. "Ma'am," he said, his tone a mix of curiosity and excitement, "do you have something to share?" The woman hesitated, her eyes darting nervously around the room. Finally, she nodded and made her way to the stage. The audience watched in stunned silence as she climbed the steps, her every movement hesitant and unsure. "What's your name?" the host asked gently. "Susan Thompson," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "And why are you here tonight, Susan?" She took a deep breath, clutching the folder tightly. I I submitted the question," she admitted, her voice breaking, "but not for the reason you think." Melania leaned forward, her expression one of genuine concern. "Please," she said softly, "tell us your story." Susan's hand shook as she opened the folder. "My son Caleb is 14 years old," she began. "He's already 6'6", and he's still growing. Doctors are baffled. They've run every test imaginable, but they can't find any answers." Her voice cracked as she continued. "I've spent everything I have, our savings, our home. trying to get him the help he needs. And when I saw Barron, when I saw how tall and healthy he is, I thought maybe you'd know something. Something that could help. Tears streamed down her face as she finished speaking. The audience was silent, their earlier curiosity replaced by empathy. Even the host seemed momentarily at a loss for words. Melania stood and approached Susan, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. "I'm so sorry for what you've been through," she said gently. At that moment, the screen behind them lit up again, displaying a series of documents. "The Trump Foundation," Melania announced, "has partnered with leading medical researchers to provide free treatment for children with rare growth conditions. Caleb's case came to our attention weeks ago, and his first appointment is already scheduled." Susan gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. "You mean?" Melania nodded, smiling. "Every penny of his medical bills has been covered. Your son will get the help he needs." The audience erupted into applause, many rising to their feet. Tears streamed down Susan's face as she hugged Melania tightly, overwhelmed by gratitude. The studio lights dimmed again, and a new video began to play. Barron Trump appeared on the screen, his towering frame and shy smile lighting up the room. "Hi, Caleb," he said warmly. "I heard you're taller than me. That's pretty cool. I just wanted to say I'm rooting for you, and I can't wait to meet you." The audience cheered, their admiration for the young Trump evident. In the days that followed, Caleb's story became a symbol of hope for families across the nation. The Trump Foundation expanded its efforts, creating a network of support for children with rare medical conditions. As for the host, his attempt to create controversy had backfired spectacularly. His ratings plummeted, and his reputation was forever tarnished. And Barron, he continued to stand tall, not just in stature, but in the kindness and character that defined him.